2026 meeting of the Housing Opportunities Commission. I'm Roy Priest, the chair, and I am joined at the diocese by Vice Chair Jeffrey Merkowitz to my immediate left, Jonathan Miller to my right, and to his right, Robin Solomon, who is our chair pro tem. We also are joined remotely by Commissioner Paul Weiss. Also like to acknowledge the presence of our staff, Aisha, Iman, and Chelsea, and also Kareem Brown, and also to acknowledge the presence of our staff at HOC, and also those of you who may be joining us on Zoom. So welcome to our meeting. The first item of business today is for me to read a closing statement that's going to adjourn this meeting, and you will be allowed to have interlude of musical pleasures while we are gone. Yeah.
I was going to sing.
Yeah, so this will be the comedy hour afterwards. Pursuant to Section 3305B and D of the General Provisions Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, I move to adopt a written closing statement dated May 13, 2026, and to adjourn this open session to a closed session to discuss the current negotiations with the union. HOC must discuss this topic in closed session to protect the confidentiality of the negotiations and to protect HOC's attorney-client privilege. Section 3-305B7, B9, and B13 allow this meeting to be closed. A member of the public attending this meeting in person can object to this closed session meeting now. A member of the public that's watching this meeting in real time on YouTube can object to the closed meeting by commenting in the YouTube chat box or by contacting HOC's General Counsel. Instructions can be found in the Open Meetings Act objection procedures, which is posted on HOC's website. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Nay, so that we will now go into a closed meeting. We will return for our regular meeting as soon as the closed meeting is finished. So you all enjoy yourself until we get back.
You may now begin.
Thank you. We are now going to reconvene the meeting of the Housing Opportunities Commission. I want to thank those of you who have been on Zoom or our staff for your patience in getting through this closed meeting session, and we'll return to our regular agenda for the meeting today. We have a community forum as the first item on the agenda. Is there someone who wants to appear before the commission?
Commissioners, I was told that there was a potential landlord that would like to speak. Yes. All right, we'll prepare the mic for him to come forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Mohammed Farouk Mustafa. I am a landlord of an individual unit in Montgomery County. My tenant essentially moved in 2021 and was evicted in 2026. The purpose of me attending this and being here is my interactions with HOC as an organization has come to a point where we are at an impasse. They, within their different wings of inspection and payments, they have started withholding payments under abatement laws, which are not conforming to the inspection reports. I have presented that over and over again to the caseworker, to the next ombudsman, to finally I randomly emailed Ms. Mayman, who is the attorney for them, and that I got a response. Falling on deaf ears, that I have a full statement ready, and if I can submit this just for the record, that would be really good, just so that the commission understands the pain, not the pain, the difficulty of landlords that have nowhere to go when these kind of incidents happen. And the incident here is not that complicated to understand. It is it's a voucher-based client. She has multiple problems. She was the person was evicted. As far as the inspections are concerned, I kept up with that. I've provided inspection reports. I've provided receipts. The unit had no power. The power is unit had no electrical power. That is the responsibility of the tenant. That tenant has already moved to a new location and left me with a $2,000 water bill. That cannot be fair and reasonable, ladies and gentlemen, sirs, commissioners. Where do I go from here? I'm not seeking legal advice. I have 59 seconds that are remaining from a forum perspective. What I'm here to seek is two things. The commission has the authority to ask for a full investigation. That's what I'm here for. Landlords like me will not believe HOC to do business in good faith with HOC ever again. Because here is the details that I would present, and a copy remains here. All of that has been sent out. There's nothing that is new in here. The water bill is something that I have flagged over and over again. I have flagged the fact that the unit has no electric power for 3 months. Why would you put me under abatement? Because the inspection failed. And the inspection didn't fail because of the inspector just couldn't get access to the unit. In my 13 seconds, if I may present this, I don't know how do I approach it. Do I leave it here? Okay. I ask, and I would love to hear back, sir, ladies and gentlemen, that if I can get a fair hearing at whichever commission handles it. Thank you very much.
We want to thank you for appearing before the commission, and we will refer this matter to the staff, ask them for a full report back to the commission on the situation and what remedies, if any, can be taken. And we'll get back to you, the staff will.
Thank you very much.
Okay? And thank you for your patience. Are you still a tenant, a landlord willing to participate in the program?
I'm not sure, sir. At this point, I'm 2 months into it. I'm still repairing the unit.
Well,
I'd love to present those receipts. Who's going to listen to my cry?
yeah. Well, we hope we can resolve this, because one thing we cannot afford to do is to lose participating landlords in our program. And so in situ to be able to use our vouchers successfully. So
What these folks have done is act in bad faith. I'm not holding the client. They have moved them to a new place without asking on what basis have they moved them to a new place, without asking all the bills have been cleared or not.
Okay.
That's just procedural things. I shouldn't have to tell somebody about don't break the law. That's not reasonable. I'm an engineer by trade. I shouldn't have to run courts fixing inspections. That's not reasonable, sir. If you want to do business with us, I'm an individual. This is just a property that I was misfortunate enough to rent. And I'm stuck in this very difficult situation. Thank you again for listening.
Yeah.
It was a little
And thank you for
over
coming.
the top, my tone. I didn't mean
Thank
it
you.
that way.
Are there any other persons who want to appear before the commission? Seeing none, I will move to the next item on the agenda, which is the report from our president, Chelsea Andrews. It's good to see you back here
Yes,
with us.
thank you. Thank you. Really great to see you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, the staff, and members of the public. I'm pleased to share an update in regards to our activities. Next slide. Commissioners, as you know, we continue to provide updates to the commission as well as the public, really focused on our 5-year strategic plan that we have implemented and that we live day by day. Our 3 primary goals that we live by and focus on in our agency is to expand affordable housing in our county, to enhance the lives we touch through supportive services and partnerships, and to excel as a world-class organization. Next slide. As you will see, this is the dashboard that is available to the public on our website at www.hocmc.org. We strongly encourage members of the public to view our dashboard. It allows you to go deeper into each of these goals and find out status as we have moved towards completing our goals. We are currently at 60% progress for our overall 5-year plan. Next slide. In regards to the work that we are doing related to our resident services, this is goal 2. This will be the area of focus today. I'll make sure that in our presentation that we highlight some of our new initiatives and share out how we are touching our residents through supportive services and partnership. Goal 2 does have a number of sub-goals. This is to enhance our resident services programs, enhance our partnerships with government and nonprofit partners, enhance wealth creation and home ownership programs, as well as enhance opportunities for applicants on our wait list. Next slide. Overall, in terms of goal 2, we are at 46% progress as we continue to go towards and strive towards completing all of our goals. Next slide. Under Goal 2A, this pertains to the work we're doing with our programs. We continue to see an increased involvement with our residents. This is really a result of the great work of resident services as well as our LPA team. And you will see that 17,600 plus residents and wait list registrants, which we do want to make sure that everyone on the wait list knows that they can participate in our programs, engaged in our program activities in FY26 quarter 2, which was up approximately 14,000 in the previous quarter. And so what you will see and what we want to make sure we are clear about, and I know this question came the last time I presented on resident services initiatives, is that these statistics reflect the number of touch points, which means that if a family touches us multiple times, it is reflected the many times they touch us, not just the number of families. And so thank you, Ms. Rowley, for making this point of clarification for the commissioners. Next slide.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that as well. Just out of curiosity, I guess there's probably not an easy way to sort of dedupe this or to count like get a sense of how many of our residents are actually using our services.
I think that, and I can circle back with the team, we definitely have data that will allow us to know which families are participating. I think the way that we've calculated it is how many people come to an event. Some people are registering and not registering. Some events are open to the public. It's based on how many people attended. So you have that as well as the number of people that register that we can track. I can circle back to see how easily we could identify the
I mean,
actual.
to the extent that we
numbers.
can identify like what percentage of our residents are using our services, it could be helpful, and especially in terms of understanding, I guess what is leading some residents to use our services and others not to, and like if there are, like if we're only serving a small minority of our residents, and we would be serving them well if they're using a lot of our services, which is great. But, are there, and I think we've talked about surveys that we
Yes,
do,
that type of.
so just identifying like if there are things that we should be doing to provide services to more of our residents.
I will say that if I may, across the board, there are a number of households that are engaging is definitely far more than just waitlist participants. Our marketing is very targeted to our communities as well as our voucher holders and people in our programs. Um, per property, we definitely can share how many families are participating and attending different types of programs. Our resident counselors work hand in hand with leadership to determine and get feedback on what type of events get more participation than others. And then, of course, as our portfolio has evolved to a mixed income model, the type of servicing and programming also is evolving. And so we're very attuned to where we're seeing increased involvement. What you'll hear today as well is a more holistic approach towards serving various agents in the way that we're approaching the work. In the nonprofit HOCP strategic plan, the new model from cradle to career allows us now to even begin programming for some of those younger family members of ours, all the way up to the seniors. And so we're getting an opportunity to see where do we see more uptick. And we also do have the data in terms of not just coming to programs because that requires time, it requires availability, but also what are people reaching out for in terms of services? What are those types of needs? And so we can definitely share more details, and I'll follow up in our next go round in terms of what the data is showing us in terms of where there are requested needs. But it is very specific. It's even specific based on property. Arcola and our and Waverly. One might like bingo and the other may like karaoke night. So what we try to do is provide the services that we know that community enjoys. Okay. And so then I will just continue on. Our work around home ownership is expanding. Really excited to share that we launched a Home Buyers Advantage program or a club where we have gotten a great deal of response. Enrollment is up to 65 and the program can take 75. And we just launched this program in May. So the needs and the interest around home ownership is great. And this was in partnership with PNC, a grant that we received from PNC for this particular program. We also relaunched Fatherhood Initiative. This is a soft, lighter launch. Obviously, we aren't able to touch as many fathers with this rollout, but we are still committed to serving our fathers. We're able to leverage funding from HOCP and remaining funds from winding down the prior program, but it is a constant request. We did advance a request to the County Council for Fatherhood Initiative, and unfortunately, it's not one of the programs that made it to their rec list of programs that they would be funding. So this continues to be a need for us. Next slide.
What's the normal size if you had been funded?
Well, in years past, we've been able to do double what we'll be able to do now. And so in this instance, we have taken $50,000 and tried to spread it through these various cohorts. I'd have to get the exact number to get to full capacity of where we were before. But
So do we keep a waiting list?
But roughly double.
Yes.
Would be.
yes.
You don't have to get the exact.
Yes. And so, well, what we do is, first of all, we have fantastic recruiters that go out and get fathers who are interested in various various different settings, from basketball games to events. In fact, on Father's Day, I should say, there's going to be a wonderful event that takes place at Wheaton Regional Park, where there is a huge emphasis on our fatherhood initiative and where we're able to get people who are interested. So yes, we have a waiting list, we have partners, we get referrals from many of our partners in the county, from different programs throughout the county that refer fathers to our program as well. Okay, next slide. In terms of the Resident Advisory Board, definitely want to thank, as you all remember, this was a huge undertaking. At one point, we did not have a couple of years ago, an active Resident Advisory Board. So we stood up a Resident Advisory Board. We now have gotten to a point where some of our board members' terms are expiring. And so we will be going out doing elections here in August to choose some new members. But this is a great group of very dedicated resident representatives.
Is the whole board turning over? Or
No, it's staggered, and there were different vacancies at different points as well. So, next slide.
Are any of them choosing to stand for reelection, or do we have term limits? Or
I do not recall if their bylaws provide for term limits. I'd have to go back and check, and we can get back to you. I will say that in terms of engagement and involvement, they all participate in the meetings. And when there has been a lack of involvement, let's say there's a conflict with someone working, etc., those particular individuals have elected to step down. And then they've backfilled those positions. So,
well, I know that we've really appreciated having their voice.
yeah, great. I do want to also, while I can and have the pleasure to do so, acknowledge Rita Harris, who supports this group and gives them great guidance and helps them with their meetings. And she's hiding, but anyways, she's here. And I do want to just say that she's a big part of why this work continues. Okay, next slide. In terms of our new programs for all ages, where I teased this up earlier, really excited to share that now there's programs that we're focusing on our infants and toddlers. Our first program was at Cider Mill, and you see that we had the ability to take some young people to a 2-part day trip to the public library and to the museum, and really focusing in on many of the STEAM activities, science, technology, math, arts, etc. Next slide. We also, a part of the work that we did with the strategic plan for HOCP revealed that there was an opportunity with our teams. And so there are programs that are now focused just on that age group. One is a community coach program. We really would like to leverage our teams to be our liaisons, to get more youth involved and to get more youth to come to our programs. And these youth get paid a stipend to go through this program and will ultimately be able to get compensated for their work in helping to advance and lift up programs for HOC. We also launched a new program, Ready for Life, and this is a program where we have a first cohort that began their work here in April. This is where they're learning multiple life skills. This was a result of survey feedback, focus group feedback in terms of our youth wanting more real life support. And so that is something that we're really excited about. The cohort for Ready for Life will be acknowledged at the scholarship event that we have for our Tony Davis Memorial Scholarship that happens every year. So this cohort will be there as well. So we always encourage commissioners to attend. Next slide. Earn, Learn, Thrive. We also hosted our first empowerment fair at Montgomery College. And there was a great deal of participation, as you can see, employers, financial institutions, and other partners providing career advice as well as other resources. Next slide. And then in terms of making sure that we continue to support our seniors, Really fortunate to receive a $200,000 grant. This is going to allow us to provide nutrition and food to our seniors on the weekend when the typical services that are provided during weekdays are not provided. And there are also additional training that will be provided to the seniors on Medicaid, Medicare, and supplemental nutritional assistance program. Next slide. The Family Self-Sufficiency Program continues to expand as well. We're up to 410 enrolled in the program, and you see that the average escrow amount is $22,000. Next slide. And as we go on with Goal 2B, the focus on increasing our partnerships and really, again, want to acknowledge the great work that the resident services team is doing and thinking creatively on who our partners should be. And you can see here that we've highlighted multiple new partners. We are now at 160 partners. And as you may recall, this was directly related to our Partner with HOC campaign. There is this is another shameless plug. There is a page on our website, Partner with HOC, for any partner who is interested in working with us, where they can express interest, and we will quickly connect. Next slide. In terms of enhancing wealth creation and home ownership, our mortgage finance program provided 18 loans this last quarter, in quarter three, that is, through our mortgage purchase program, totaling $4.86 million. You will hear in today's request, additional requests for funds for our single family program. And this is how we ramp back up the disbursement of loans through the work that we do to advance home ownership. And so this is reflecting the loans that we provided for the mortgage purchase program. Next
Chelsea, could you remind us how much did we have available this year? And I know later in the packet it says we have about $1 million left. But so this is showing, that we put out, about $4 or $5 million less than last year.
slide. And I think what I will do is allow Mr. Somerville, when he gives his presentation later today,
That's fine.
in a few moments, related to the single family purchase program, as well as our overall mortgages, to talk about the combination of the funds that we get from the county versus the funds that we do move forward with for our mortgage program. So one is related just to down payment and closing cost assistance. The other relates to first-time homebuyer program loans. But I will allow Mr. Somerville to answer that question. Let's see, next slide. In terms of the wait list, it continues to move in an upward manner. I will just preview that in the next few months, we continue to work hard on getting to a point where we're able to present a more comprehensive strategy towards our wait list, and working with Yardi. We expect to provide an update to the commission in the next few months on that. But we are still at a level that reflects that the demand far exceeds our supply. And just bringing into fold, although of course HOC Bridge just launched, this particular program goes hand in hand, because as we move people off of the wait list with our bridge program, that creates yet another opportunity for someone who's severely in need to be able to obtain a voucher. And so this, of course, ties in trying to really start seeing some mobility with the wait list. Next slide. I'm going to ask Ken Silverman, our Vice President of Government Affairs, to provide a legislative update.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Ken Silverman, Vice President of Legislative Affairs. Thank you, Chelsea. I did want to start with the federal update, kind of focus on the budget, but I did want to start by just saying we do continue to track the Road to Housing, 21st Century Road to Housing bill, which seems to have stalled in Congress, but sounds like there is some chance of it getting done this year, although a slim one, with the main sort of focus and debate is on the prohibition on investors purchasing single-family homes, which was sort of inserted late in the process. But there's been some reporting that the president has backed off of that, and so there may be a small window to be able to move forward. The federal budget, we're now starting to get some insight into what Congress is thinking. The House Appropriations Committee held their hearing with the HUD Secretary earlier this week. There was some comments from both sides of the aisle that they didn't appreciate the proposed elimination of a number of programs, and it did was sort of a heartening conversation that they seemed likely to continue their tradition of, as our NARO Legislative Affairs team frequently says, the president proposes, Congress disposes. So we're hopeful that that will include, in particular, I think the most troubling aspects of the president's proposal are some of the policy riders that they have proposed for the voucher program in particular, as well as public housing, that would include a prohibition on reissuing new vouchers, as well as mandatory work requirements and time limits. So again, very hopeful that Congress will reject those provisions and working with NARO and other stakeholders to make sure that we advocate on those. The budget also did sort of confirm that HUD has paused on approving any new FFB, FHA risk share loans. So it sounds like there may not be a formal unwinding of the program, but they're just not they're not budgeting to have any, allocate any resources to that program. And so that's unfortunate, but glad to see it, continue to at least have the infrastructure in place to be able to revisit that, the future Congress or future administration.
So then, if you wanted FHA, you'd have to just do traditional FHA.
Yeah, none of that affects traditional FHA risk share, which is sort of statutorily authorized. This is really just this FFB enhancement, which is not in statute, and so they're able to make those administrative decisions with that.
Is HOC a risk sharing entity?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not tragic. It's not as.
Yes.
It's not ideal, but it's not.
Yes, I think that's.
That you still get a federal guarantee.
That's right. So we're among the very few. Us and the New York City HDC are the two local housing finance agencies that have this sort of highest status of being FFB risk share lenders, along with a handful of state HFAs. Next slide, please. So the state has, as we've shared in the past, wrapped up their legislative assembly. We've continued to, work through the bills and analyze the final budget. Generally, good news for HOC. We did send out a legislative update with a pretty thorough rundown of all the bills that we were tracking and what we think any impact of those might have been, as well as the budget items that were approved that are relevant to HOC.
I saw in one of your notes that there was a special appropriation for the Geico redevelopment of $2.5 million. Who does that appropriation go to?
That's a good question. I'll have to get back to you on that.
I'm just curious. Thank you.
Yep, there was an earmark there, but I think so. Next slide, please. So continuing to highlight some of that action were two of the governor's three sort of big housing bills. The one that didn't pass was sort of related to the missing middle opportunities. But the Housing Certainty Act in particular we're very positive about, and sort of provides that any regulatory approvals associated with development have to be kind of locked in from the government's point of view. for 5 years following the approval. So they, even if they were to go back and change the rules or change the zoning or anything else, if you have that approval in place, there's some certainty to that.
Ken, has that been an issue in this county?
I think this.
We're very excited about this legislation. Thank you.
Next slide, please. A small issue, but we're glad to have worked through and gotten resolved, is that there was an abandonment of a small parcel that was part of the Elizabeth Square redevelopment across the street here. And the council did, in fact, approve the final resolution on Tuesday. So we've sort of completed that part of that, and that will help with the future redevelopment on that site. Next slide, please. A little more tangled is the council working through their FY27 budget. We're in the final stages now. Hopefully, if things are going well in Rockville, they have made the final decisions and decided on a final budget, which they will formally vote on and sort of announce the results of tomorrow morning. The council, through their review, did only recommend sort of tentatively funding 2 of our enhancements beyond what the county executive had recommended. So that was a total of about $500,000 overall in sort of support related to the move to HQ here. So that's out of, I think, close to $2 million that we requested in the operating budget. They did, move forward with the executive's recommendation to provide close to a little more than $2 million in new support on the capital budget, which is sort of highlighted here. Those 2 items are competing with about $150 million of other potential additions on the council's reconciliation list for what seems to be about $60 million of funding that's available. So we'll find out tomorrow morning how that works out and what the final budget is there. They are, as maybe you've read, working through some pretty thorny issues around tax rates and school funding. And so this has been a pretty tense budget. And so normally it's an election year, that never helps. So, normally I would have hoped for them to add, more of our requests, at least to the reconciliation list, to be able to consider them. But they've been, trying to keep that as tight as they possibly can. Next slide, please.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Ken.
Sure.
And this is a wonderful photo of Ken accepting an award on our behalf at the National Association of Local Housing Finance Agencies annual conference. He was able to accept the award that we received for Single Family Award of Excellence. This is pertaining to our partnership with Habitat in the work that we're doing. So again, commissioners, the partnership in terms of working with our nonprofits to advance home ownership opportunities was recognized on a national platform. So just thankful for that recognition. And then next slide, we have here a photo from this month's Affordable Housing Month recognition. This is where we had Chair Priest as well as Commissioner Miller and myself in attendance with many of our other partners accepting a proclamation for Affordable Housing Month. Next slide. Also, continuing to lift up our finance team as we are in the midst of budget season. This is the 17th consecutive year that our finance team has earned the prestigious GFOA Certificate of Achievement. It's the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting. And so it definitely is a significant accomplishment. So kudos to Tim Getzinger and Terry Fowler and the entire our entire finance team. Oh, we're a 17-year streak. Okay. Oh, what's the longest record? I think we probably hold the longest record. Listen, listen. We're leading the way in so many ways. Next slide. And I also just want to celebrate. This was a beautiful day. I understand the groundbreaking at the Sage in partnership with EYA, Montgomery County Green Bank, many of our leaders. This is our development that is located steps away from Shady Grove Metro Station. We'll have a library and 413 new homes coming soon. And so this is our third utilization of the Housing Production Fund. Commissioners, I will say that we are planning to provide a more comprehensive update to the commission on the fund. We're working on that now so that we can share with you all as we have gotten to 5 years of the HPF, how we have been able to leverage this resource, where we are in terms of our pipeline, and lessons learned as we continue to move forward. So, coming soon, we look forward to sharing that with you. And of course, we're appreciative of the support that we've received from the County Council. We recently requested that they have an openness around the 5 year timeline to allow us opportunity to transition the HPF to other programs and, excuse me, other projects, but to do so within a certain period of time. And so we'll talk to you more about that. Next slide. Our Helping Our Communities initiatives continues. And as you can see, we had great events that took place in the month of April. Our Paddington Bears at Paddington Square and our Wave Makers at Waverly House. Yes, our teams come up with these names and they're great hits. And so we have the MDs at Magruder's Discovery coming up on June 23rd. And so these events are definitely, again, an opportunity for our staff to come together once a year to participate in giving back. And it also allows for our divisions to get to know each other and to get to know and be closer to the mission that we serve. Next slide. And then just wrapping up, a number of activities taking place here in the next month or two. Our financial education series workshops, one taking place on May 21st. As I mentioned earlier, that fantastic event that attracts hundreds and hundreds of folks to Wheaton Regional Park, lots of vendors and information there on our Families and Father's Day celebration. Encourage you to please consider joining us. The financial education series that will take place on June 18th. This relates to insurance and understanding the nuances. And then our June 25th Tony S. Davis Memorial Scholarship Awards dinner, where we also will celebrate our first cohort of our Ready for Life program graduates. And so with that, I open for any additional questions and or comments.
I have a couple of comments. One, the reports that you do every month to the commission, are these posted on our website?
Yes.
So people can actually see this on an ongoing basis, because there's a lot of information in here that the community may not be hearing this meeting, but they can go on our website and see all these programs we're doing, especially those that focus on the residents. I mean, I think it's really powerful. The other thing I want to comment on is that there are very few agencies like ours that actually do anything focused on the wait list, where we are actually making available to wait list participants on the list access to our programs. And very few agencies that do that across this country. And I think we should be very proud of that work that we do, and we need to find a way to continue to enunciate that. The other thing, at today, I was at the conference sponsored by a home.
Housing and.
Yeah, housing and I was talking to a person from Loudoun County who was telling me about their plans related to strategic planning they're doing in their housing space. So I referred them to our strategic plan and to our platform that we have on site, and told them they should go ahead and look at that. So you may be getting calls from someone from Loudoun County, because the person who heads up their housing and community development department now, Eric Keeler, used to be the deputy director in Alexandria.
Okay.
So I got to know Eric very well. So you might want to, we'll get some feedback from that. The other thing, on our fatherhood program, very impressed with what we're doing. There are a number of organizations, nonprofits, that are doing work in the whole fatherhood space. And I don't know if we are collaborating with any of them, but I know, for example, even my fraternity, Omega Psi Phi, we have a national fatherhood initiative that we do. And so we'd be happy to partner with HOC if we can get into that space. So just want to mention that as well. Um, uh, so yeah, just want to mention those things.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
You had mentioned in your written material that the SAGE would be stabilized the fiscal year after completion. I didn't know if the numbers had changed.
Right.
from what
It
we
wouldn't
last
be
saw.
just a year. We typically anticipate 18 months to 24 months. So I'd have to go back to see exactly what was referenced.
Yeah, it said that stabilized the fiscal year after completion. But as I recall, there was an operating deficit that we were funding with a reserve for 3.5 years. I didn't know if the numbers had changed or not since our last discussion.
I'd have to go back to look at
Thank you.
that. But typically our projects stabilize 18 to 24 months. And then the project is funding a reserve, but not necessarily to address a deficit. So let me go back.
It had
so that
3.5.
we can have a conversation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If there are no other questions, we will proceed with the agenda, which involves commissioner exchange. Are there any bright new ideas, thoughts? Just one. I'm going to send you all an article. I meant to bring a copy. I walked out of the house and left it on my desk. It's an article in one of the trade publications about the Philadelphia's approach to affordable housing. And it was talking about the fact that what they are doing is taking on an acquisition strategy where they have created a fund that they use to be able to acquire properties in the Philadelphia area to use for affordable housing. And they're buying really kind of properties that are, in many cases, they're buying them from the bank, or buying from other places where they're getting them at a cheaper price, of course, and then turning them around. Interesting program. I mean, in a way, it sounded a little bit like our scattered site work that we do, but they are consciously trying to buy properties at a price point that they can afford to turn them around and keep them affordable. Interesting article. I'll send it to you. I just want to mention that to you. So look out for that one. I'll send it to you. Anything else? If not, I'll move the agenda to the approval of our minutes. These are the approval of our minutes for April the 8th open session and also our closed session. Can I get a motion to approve the April the 8th open and closed meeting? Probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by aye. Opposed, nay. So ordered. We will now go into our committee reports. The first one is on Budget, Finance, and Audit Committee that I chair. The first item that we have under that is for approval to renew our financial advisor's contract, and I will turn to Chelsea.
Pardon me. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, this is a request to continue the relationship that we have with Kane Mitter and Associates, which has been a very strong and healthy relationship. Kane Mitter and Associates has provided us a great deal of guidance and expertise as we're thinking about our bond structures for our different transactions, including transactions that you'll hear today in terms of our single family program. And so we have had a long-standing positive relationship. I will turn it over to our Vice President of Mortgage Finance, Michael Somerville, to provide more details.
Great. Thank you, President Andrews. Good afternoon, Commissioners and members of the public. For the record, I'm Michael Somerville, Vice President of Mortgage Finance. As President Andrews stated, we are presenting you a request to renew the financial advisor contract for Kane Mitter & Associate Incorporated, which we effectively refer to as Kane Mitter. Back in June 8th of 2022, the Commission approved the selection of Kane Mitter as our financial advisor for an initial term of 4 years, which expires on June 30th of 2026. The contract actually allows for 2 one-year renewals for a maximum term of the contract of 6 years. So Kane Mitter is an independent financial advisory firm that has acting through its personnel, has been in the business of providing financial advisory and quantitative services to state and local finance agencies for over 48 years. They specialize in single-family and multifamily housing finance, as well as fiscal management for the local and state housing finance agencies. They also act as a swap advisor and investment bidding agent for both single-family and multifamily programs and provides a broad array of services to its clients. They have 29 HFA clients in 22 states, and over 99% of their activities support affordable housing. They're ranked number one in terms of affordable housing bond issuance and outstrip their nearest competitor by almost $2 billion in advisory services as it relates to multifamily housing. They provide finance advice for a number of different swap transactions and our real estate development activities. They also support us on a variety of audit issues that may arise during the course of our business activities. They have been steady in their guidance to HOC as well as in our interactions with our rating agency, Moody's, and all of the programs and quarterly reviews that we go through with Moody's. We remain confident in their ability to represent HOC as a financial advisor. One thing to point out is there's no impact in the renewal of this contract on our budget as their services are paid for from our bond activities. We are requesting your approval to renew the contract for a one-year term at this time, and I will open it up to any questions that you may have.
This item did come before the Budget, Finance, and Audit Committee, and we wholeheartedly supported the recommendation to approve the extension of this contract. And I would say at a personal level, having the opportunity to work with them related to our bond financing transactions, that I wholeheartedly support the outstanding work and guidance they have provided to HOC. So I certainly would totally support this recommendation.
Can I just ask why 1 year this time versus another?
The contract terms always have 1 year renewal periods. So the first initial period was 4 years, and now we have 2 1-year options.
Can I get a motion to approve Resolution 2620? Probably moved and seconded to approve Resolution 2620. All in favor signify by aye. Opposed, nay. So ordered. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item coming before you is from our Development, Finance, and Audit Committee, and I will turn to the chair of that committee, Jeff Merkowitz.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. The first item that we discussed at our committee meeting had to do with the Elizabeth Square, which our shades are down right now, but if they were open, I was impressed walking up to see that could see right through it now, and that it was mostly down. But I will turn it over to President Andrews to discuss a proposal for an interim development plan and major amendment to the site plan.
Thank you. Commissioners, this is a request as it pertains to thinking about the future of our square here. As you know, we have been very successful with the development and building out Elizabeth Square. And as we take down our headquarters across the street, we have an opportunity to explore what's next in terms of residential redevelopment there. There's also, of course, going to be a period of time as we explore what's next and think about the market where there will be an interim phase. We are taking the steps required to ensure that the interim state of this parcel is in alignment with what the county would like. I will just caveat that we are constantly seeking support from the county as it pertains to, one, the increased cost of demolition that we encountered with bringing down Elizabeth House, as well as seeking support in terms of what the interim use would be. And so I do want to just make sure that we're caveating that this is just really a reflection of taking the steps that we need to ensure that we're able to develop in the future, that we properly abide by the requirements of the county. But in terms of beautification of this site, we are asking DGS and the county to provide resources if they would like to see a nice green space or some other use for that land. In any event, Jay Shepard has been leading this effort, and I will turn it to him to provide an update.
Thank you, President Andrews. For the record, I'm Jay Shepard, Housing Acquisition Manager in Real Estate Development. As outlined in your brief packages, staff are here to request that the Commission accept for this item those recommendations by staff with the full support of the Development and Finance Committee to move forward and resolve the following items, which can actually be found on page 6 of this packet, or 7. The first item is to approve a budget up to $886,000. That includes a 5% contingency, and that's for securing the right-of-way abandonment work that Ken had mentioned earlier. It includes the interim site plan that President Andrews had mentioned and is depicted here, and related costs associated with that, and then market feasibility study for assessing really the next phase that would be coming, and that's actually phase 4 of Elizabeth House. We have also, in this packet, asking for approval to draw on the $150 million PNC Bank real estate line of credit for up to that same amount, and that funds the budget. And then finally, the third item is to authorize the continuation of the use of Lurch, Early and Brewer and Rogers Consulting. Lurch, Early and Brewer is legal land use counsel, and then Rogers Consulting is our site civil engineer, respectively. Their contracts have, as you can imagine, over a decade of work on this project, reached the level by which the Commission needs to further authorize additional work. And so that work is being asked for here, as well as the execution of any documents required to effectuate those changes. So I wanted to keep it brief. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer those at this time.
This item was also discussed at committee level and fully supported. Are there any questions from the commissioners? If not, I will make a motion to approve resolutions 2621A and 2621B. And just with a note that I think on the top of 2621B there, or it says 866,000. I think we're drawing, is it 886?
We'll make that correction.
Yes,
Thank you.
correct. So it's correct in the resolution language.
I see that. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve resolution 2621A and 2621B. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. So ordered. Next item.
Okay. Thank you.
Next item from the committee has to do with a new issuance of our single-family mortgage resolution bonds. I'll
Yes.
turn it over to President.
Thank
Andrews.
you. Commissioners, this is again spot on with what we were speaking about earlier in terms of the agency's focus on home ownership and wealth creation. And every time we get the support from the Commission to move forward with funding, it is abundantly clear that there is a need for this resource in our county. We continue to share with our state partners that this is a program that we will continue and seeking their support in that effort as well. I'd like to turn it over to our Vice President of Mortgage Finance, Michael Somerville, to provide more details.
Thank you, President Andrews. Good evening, Commissioners and members of the public. For the record, I'm Michael Somerville, Vice President of Mortgage Finance. As President Andrews has indicated, we're presenting you a request for the approval of the structure, cost of issuance budget, and the adoption of the resolutions for the issuance of the single-family mortgage revenue bonds, Series 2026 A and B. If we could please go to page 3. Thank you. So the Single-Family Mortgage Purchase Program, or the MPP, was created in 1979. Each year, Mortgage Finance requests approval for the issuance of single-family mortgage revenue bonds to support its Single-Family Mortgage Purchase Program, or MPP. The bonds are issued to fund the MPP loans as well as to fund the purchase of eligible mortgage-backed securities issued in Montgomery County, which was approved in 2019. The 2026 bonds are anticipated to include replacement refunding bonds to repay the program's approximately $5.5 million draw on the PNC Bank line of credit that has refunded several series of mortgage revenue bonds, housing revenue bonds, 2.8 which was drawn in conjunction January 1st, with the remaining and approximately 2.7 is expected to be drawn in July for the bond exemptions. We're asking for a temporary increase of that line from 5 million to 7 million to permit these refunding activities. We are also anticipating issuing new money bonds totaling approximately 30 million, of which 20 million will use private activity tax exempt bonds and require an allocation of our volume cap of an equal amount. And up to approximately 9.5 million is estimated in taxable and will not require allocation of any volume cap. Next slide, please. The interest rate environment has been extremely volatile, and this trend is expected to continue for some time, and the program may benefit from shifts in the market up until the time of the bond sale. HOC may be advantaged if the rates in the taxable bonds decline, such as economically beneficial to increase the size of that issuance of the taxable portion, as which would yield more loans at a lower rate. Therefore, the staff is requesting authorization to increase the bond issuance size up to 35 million, an increase of 5 million, with the approval of the cost of issuance budget up to 610 if that occurs. If the interest rate environment remains unchanged at the time of the bond sale, the bond issuance will be limited to the 30 million that was stated earlier. If we could go to slide 6, please. So as you can see, this shows a comparison of, one more slide, please. Actually, go back to, sorry. I'm not sure what happened to the, there we go. Thank you. So this shows a comparison of the two different issuances, one being the first issuance at 30 million, and the second one showing what the issuance would look like if there was favorable market conditions to increase the amount of the taxable bond issue up to the 9.5. Okay, if we could go to slide 7, please. Okay, and this shows a comparison of the two cost of issuance budgets. Between the first column on the left is our budget for if we do a $30 million issuance, and then the second one shows the cost of issuance if we go to 35 million. And most of the changes are purely a difference in some of the variable costs that relate to the size of the issuance itself. Next slide, please. We'll be issuing a pair of series resolution to support these bonds, and that was attached as part of this packet as well. Next slide, please. And this is kind of the schedule that we are looking at for the issuance of these bonds. Our goal is to facilitate bond pricing toward the middle of July, with a bond closing toward the end of July. This may change a little bit as we receive money, the Down Payment Assistance Program, Montgomery County Housing Assistance Fund money, in early August. We may delay our pricing and our closing to closer aligned to when we'll receive those funds. Next slide, please. So as you can see, here's a quick summary of our activity. We have issued through March 31st, 84 loans totaling 21.5 million. Most of this is driven by the fact we received the Montgomery County Housing Assistance Fund money, which we received in August, which last year totaled $2 million, which funds a lot of our MPP activity. And at the bottom of the page, you can see a brief description of the various closing cost and down payment assistance programs that we have available to support our single-family MPP program. Next slide, please. So we are requesting the following actions. Approval of the structure of the 2026 Series A bonds under the 1979 mortgage indenture. Approval to allocate up to 20 million of our private activity bond volume cap to complete the transaction. Approval of the cost of issuance budget estimated at 560,000 based on a $30 million issuance, which is to be funded through the single family program. Approval for the president and executive director to increase the bond issuance to a size up to 35 million to take advantage of favorable rate environment if it exists, and which will result in an increase of the cost of issuance budget up to 610,000. Adoption of one or more series resolutions authorizing the issuance of the bonds, and approval of the increase in the bond refunding cap under the PNC line from 5 million up to 7 million on a temporary basis. It's important to note that there is no budgetary impact with the issuance, as all costs of this activity is funded through the indentures themselves. And with that, concludes all of my formal comments, and I'm open up for any questions at this time.
Thanks, Michael. Just going back to the question I asked President Andrews during her presentation. So I was just trying to understand how much in loans, or how much of our funds that we had available that we issued. Not talking very well, but so the this year it looked like we had issued about 21 million in loans. The previous year it had been about 26 million, this year with the 21 million, it said we had about, I think in this presentation we had about 1 million left. So I was just wondering, did we have less money available to issue this year, or why were the numbers of mortgages down, or the dollar volume was down?
It really is a fluctuation based on interest rate environment. We see swings in our activity from individuals looking to use our MPP program. That comes into play. Once we exhaust the McCaff funding, then we see a dramatic fall off in our utilization of our MPP because it's such an incentive for these residents in our county to utilize our program. We also do use funds to support the purchase of mortgage-backed securities. So that's kind of an offset to our volume of mortgage loans that we actually do.
Okay. But so I guess I just wasn't clear if we had used all of our funding available, or if we had more, sort of the 26 versus 21 million. Like why? I mean, if we've only got 1 million left, it sounds like I was just trying to remember. We're about to approve between 30 and 35 million bond authority.
The
now
1 million
we had done less last year.
The 1 million left was actually referring to what we had remaining under the McCaff funds available. As far as what we have remaining from last year's issuance, I don't have these figures in front of me.
Let me. Sorry. Good afternoon, Commissioners. For the record, I'm Kayleen Brown, Senior Executive Vice President. Let us go back and look at the data a little bit more carefully and make sure we're answering all the right questions. We typically don't underuse our funds. When we're preparing to go back to the market with a new bond issuance, we're usually completely out of funds. Now, when we issue $30 million of new money, most of it is used to make loans. A small portion of it is allocated toward the bond debt service reserves. But let us go back and scour the data and look at the number of loans we're making from the proceeds, and come back and give you a good summary to make sure we're comparing apples to apples, and also let you know how much of that was used with the McCaff and other closing cost funds.
Yeah. No, thanks, Karen. I think you've captured my question. Is that I was assuming we were not underusing our available funds, and so just trying to understand.
And I think what we could also add is the data around what the average loan amount was and what the average interest rate was in comparison to the prior year. That might also reflect out.
But I guess that wouldn't change, because if the average loan amount was smaller, we could issue more loans. Mm-hmm. The average loan amount was higher, we'd issue it. But this was a look at the dollar volume rather than the number. Like I could understand if the total numbers of mortgages fluctuates. I just wasn't clear on why there was such a big swing in the dollar volume of the mortgages. So,
Thank you.
total.
So, one question and then one comment. So, you started by saying the interest rate environment is volatile, and I would underscore that point, given the inflation numbers that came out, was that this morning or yesterday? It's plausible. I mean, we've given you the authority, or we're going to soon vote to give you the authority to issue more in bonds, assuming a more favorable environment. But I haven't looked at the Kalshi markets today, but you could speculate that it might be a less favorable. I mean, we would still. What would happen in that situation?
Well, interesting enough, in talking with our financial advisor, Kane Miller, we realized that the 10-year Treasury is almost at the same level it was when we issued last year. We were probably within 2 to 3 basis points. One of the more interesting things, though, is the spread of housing bonds has actually decreased over that time.
Decrease.
Yes. So we believe, we're still in solid position for the initial ask of the 30 million, but we're just going to monitor the situation and talk with our advisors to determine if there is any advantage at the time as we approach pricing.
Great, thank you. And then it struck me, so we might use some of these funds for mortgage-backed securities?
Yes, we've always, it was approved by the commission to purchase eligible mortgage-backed securities to Montgomery County residents that fall within the parameters of certain characteristics of the MBS.
Who bundles those?
We actually work through Kane Miller. They pull, working with our trustee, they'll show us these individual, and they're parts of pools. So we're looking at individuals and comparing those characteristics to our eligibility and then approving those purchases.
Are we the initial purchaser, or are we funding these initially, or are they in the market?
We are actually, they're being part of the pool, so they're initials.
Great, thank you.
Are there any other questions? If not, this item likewise was discussed and supported at the committee level, and so I will make a motion to approve Resolution 26-22.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve Resolution 2622. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. So ordered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to recess this meeting in order to convene the Development Corporation meetings? Is there a second? All in favor signify by aye. Opposers, nay. So ordered. We will now convene the Development Corporation meetings that are listed on the agenda. The development corporations are entities that are wholly controlled by HOC and own various properties. For each development corporation, the board of directors is comprised of the HOC commissioners, and the officers are the same as the officers of the commission. I will now call the meeting of the LAD 6 Development Corporation to order. The item before the board is seeking approval to execute a contract with a general contractor for a roof replacement at Seneca Ridge. I now turn the presentation over to the staff.
Thank you, commissioners. I will turn it over to our asset management team, Kelly Dickerson, as well as Aaron Smith, who could provide more details in regards to this request.
Thank you, President and Commissioners. I'm going to turn this over to Aaron, and he'll be addressing you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, President Andrews. Good afternoon, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Aaron Smith, Asset Manager. Today, I'm presenting a request for approval to select and execute a contract with Rapid Roofing and Remodeling for the roof replacement at Seneca Ridge. Pursuant to invitation for bid number 2026 IFB-21. Seneca Ridge is an important affordable housing asset within the HOC's portfolio, and this project is necessary to preserve the property, protect residents, and avoid further deterioration at the buildings. Seneca Ridge is a 71-unit rental townhome community located in Germantown, Maryland. The property consists of 16 market rate units, 55 PBRA units, serving households at 50% area median income. Seneca Ridge is owned within the RAD 6 Development Corporation entity. The property was originally built in 1973 and converted to public housing to RAD in 2015 in order to preserve these units as affordable housing for county residents. Because of the age of the property and the limited scope of the renovations completed during the RAD conversion, ongoing capital investment is necessary to maintain these buildings and preserve the long-term viability of the asset. HOC's mission is best served through timely repairs, replacements, and protect resident health and safety and prevent loss of units due to deterioration. For this reason, county CIP funding is being recommended to support the roof replacement project. Next slide, please. In 2025, Seneca Ridge began experiencing failures in its original roofing systems. Pradham and the third-party property management company and HOC's maintenance division both evaluated the roofs and concluded that they exceeded their useful life and the need for replacement was immediate. Timely replacement is critical because continued deterioration could lead to leaks, water intrusion, and additional building damage and potentially resident displacement. Although Seneca Ridge underwent renovations during the RAD conversion approximately 10 years ago, certain capital improvements were not included in the original scope of work. As a result, county CIP funding is available and appropriate to support these necessary capital improvements today. Next slide, please. For this project, HOC used the invitation for bid procurement method because the scope of work was clearly defined and the price was primary evaluation factor. Vendors were asked to bid on the same scope and specification in the contract terms. 8 firms submitted bids for the project. Bid amounts range from approximately $343,000 to $883,000. While some firms submitted lower base bids, the analysis determined that certain bidders had significantly higher unit pricing or for plywood replacement, which would create substantial financial exposure through change orders. 2 firms were effectively disqualified from consideration. 1 firm confirmed that it did not bid the full scope, while another had prior compliance and performance issues on a previous HOC project. Rapid Roofing and Remodeling is being recommended because they provided the best overall value. Their base bid was $497,100, and they offered the lowest potential exposure for plywood replacement costs, estimated at approximately $62,400. They also demonstrated compliance with HOC works requirements and provided a balanced proposal that minimized financial and compliance risks. The total proposed project budget being recommended for approval is $658,920. This includes the base bid contract amount, estimated plywood costs, and the HOC held contingency of approximately 17.8%. Although the property had approximately $297,000 in replacement reserves, staff is recommended using CIP funds, county CIP funds, because the project was not included in the fiscal year property budget for fiscal year 26. And there are sufficient CIP funds available. Next slide, please. Staff is requesting that the commission first approve the selection of Rapid Roofing and Remodeling as the contractor to replace all the unrenovated roofs at Seneca Ridge. Second, approve the total project budget of $658,920 funded through county CIP funds. This amount includes the contract amount of $497,100 up to $62,400 for plywood replacement as needed, and the HOC held contingency of $99,420. Third, authorize the president and executive director to negotiate and execute the contract with Rapid Roofing and Remodeling to complete the roof and gutter replacement project at Seneca Ridge. There's no direct impact to the HOC's operating budget, and this project will help preserve an important affordable housing asset while reducing the risk of future building failures and resident disruption. This concludes my presentation. I will pause here for any questions.
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve resolution 26-001 RAD 6? Second? All in favor signify by aye. Opposed, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Metropolitan Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from April the 8th, 2026. Second, all in favor signify by aye. Opposed, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Oaks at Four Corners Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of April 8th, 2026? Second, all in favor signify by aye. Opposed, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the TPM Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from April the 8th, 2026? Second? All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Sligo Hill Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of April 8th? There a second? All in favor signify by aye. Opposed, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. This concludes the Development Corporation meetings. We will now reconvene HOC's regular monthly meeting. As there is no further business to come before the commission today, HOC's May monthly meeting is now adjourned as of 5:58 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.